Good morning, everyone, or rather should I say good afternoon, and welcome to the webinar. Today's webinar is about public speaking to increase your business profits. I run this as a workshop, and it's often the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in regional communities, Port Hedland, Karratha, Tom Price, Onslow, that bring me in to run this. So this is for people that have businesses and want to use the spoken word, public speaking, to increase your business profits. Now, I'm a purely public speaking professional, so I speak for my business. People pay me to speak. This webinar is an example of speaking for free. It's a free webinar, but what it does is it boosts my profits, it boosts my profile, and it boosts my personal branding in that space of public speaking and presentation skills, confidence, credibility, and effectiveness. So today I want to talk about a few ideas that you may be able to use if you want to increase your profitability, your visibility, your marketing through the public speaking word. Welcome, Kirsten. We've just got underway. We've got a small group today. Sarah and Stephen are on board, and Kirsten. So public speaking to increase your profits. As always, ask questions as we go, and I'm going to skim over stuff in this workshop. I can't dig deep into the details, so you may need to send me questions after today. But importantly, what are you going to do in terms of your business, your career, your skill set to boost it through the spoken word? Ask questions, take notes, and make comments, bearing in mind that you can also ask me questions after the webinar. Send me an email, drop me a phone call, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'm going to change slide decks. So the first tool, and I need to change my slide deck for the audience. Presentation mode. So the first way you can boost your profits, and remember you can boost your profits by your branding, your expertise, is to run a public seminar. So when you run a public seminar, people don't necessarily pay money. So you book a room, you advertise and say 1 hour seminar, 2 hour seminar on how to invest in real estate in rural and remote communities, or whatever your expertise is. Now, there's those seminars where they do the hard selling on the platform. I don't do hard selling on the platform. I use my public seminars that I run for free as a way of giving good quality content, information around being more effective as a speaker, how you might control nerves, how you might be able to be more influential as a speaker. So running a public seminar, while scary, is a great way of speaking to boost your profitability, to boost your findability, and to boost your expertise in that area. If I was going to be speaking about public health microbiology and water quality and why drinking out of plastic bottles is absolute crazy, because the water quality of our drinking water out of the taps from a microbiological perspective is some of the best in the world. This is how you can position yourself. So speaking for profits is not only getting dollars in your bank account. It is connecting, building rapport, building relationships, building future sales. You can charge for your seminar. So this particular seminar on the left is in Bendigo. Excuse me. I have been paid to stand here and speak to this group of people, and there's another group on this side and there's another group down the end. But I'm a professional speaker. You don't have to be a professional speaker to boost your business, to grow your findability, to grow your expertise. So that's the first way of growing your business. Run a public seminar. You don't even have to be the sole speaker. Bring some colleagues, bring some friends who also know how to add value, who are good content speakers, and that way you can run a public seminar with multiple speakers, and you might run it across a half day. Run a webinar. You are participating in a webinar with me right now. Anyone can run a webinar. There's a whole host of webinar software out there. Webinar Jam, GoToWebinar, which is the one I am using at the moment, and Zoom is the one I'm moving to in April. I run a webinar that I advertise and promote to my existing client base. I market it on Facebook, LinkedIn, so I also get 80% existing clients coming back, learning, and I always get that 10 to 20% new clients who found out about a free webinar. They participate, they like it, and then they become a potential customer, and then they pay me money to come to a workshop to coach them. Once again, it's positioning me. So the webinars help me be seen as an expert in my area. Running a webinar helps me be found on Google. It helps with my search engine optimization. If you're very clever, very knowledgeable, and you have a niche area of expertise, people will pay to attend your webinar. I have a friend in Portland, Oregon, who is also a professional speaker, and all of his seminars, all of his workshops, all of his income is derived purely by webinars. In fact, GoToWebinar pay him to run a webinar on how to use GoToWebinar. He has up to 1,000 people on a webinar at one time. That is internationally, but GoToWebinar is an international brand, and he gets paid for that by GoToWebinar. So that's a set fee, similar to run a public seminar. This is a public seminar via webinar, and the organization, GoToWebinar, is paying him his speaking fee, $2,000, $3,000 to run a webinar. Alternatively, you can charge each individual. They're $27, they're $49 plus GST, depending on what your market, what your level of expertise is. My personal branding and my personal experience is that it's hard to get people to pay for a webinar. And while I ran paid webinars in previous years, and I get 4 or 5 people on the webinar paying a small fee, in the end I've decided to stick with free webinars as a means of positioning, personal branding, and giving back to those clients, those people who buy off me, those people who refer me to colleagues. So it's keeping me front of your mind in the area of public speaking, corporate communications. I love this image on the left as on the right. Indeed, you can run a webinar anywhere. So my business is portable. On Sunday, I'm going to Melbourne, where I'll be running 3 workshops on the 12th, 13th and 14th. On the 18th of March, so back in Perth for a few days, I go to Tom Price in the Pilbara, where I will be running a workshop for the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I then come back home, and then we go to Bendigo, rural Victoria, and then Swan Hill, then Kerrang and Kahuna, two rural Victorian towns. I can run my webinars on the road. If I've got a laptop and I've got an internet connection, then I deliver my webinar regardless. I'm going to talk about something else and part of the reason I'm moving to Zoom, that's not striking out Zoom, that's trying to highlight Zoom. I'll talk about Zoom a little bit later on. Anyone can run a webinar. Anyone. The technology is in the cloud. You don't need to have Zoom or GoToWebinar to participate. Create a podcast. Seth Godin, that marketing guru, the person who everyone respects, Purple Cow and lots of other best-selling marketing books, a real influencer. Seth Godin says, if you're not podcasting, then you're not really creating content or value to your customers. And the real answer, the real rationale behind Seth Godin's comments are here. Whether they're on a treadmill, whether they're jogging, whether they're doing push-ups, the podcast is on the go. The webinar, you can't be consuming this webinar as you're on the train, on the bus, even driving. The podcast you can consume in the car, and a lot of cars, Toyotas I think have partnered with Spotify. Some other cars have partnered with iTunes. So what that means is that your content, your tips, you're helping people become healthier, become financially secure, become more aware of particular dangers. They can consume your content as they go. Spotify, there's other ones, I think the Audible books, or not Audacity, Audible. Audible is another way of consuming books via sound. So podcasting, really powerful. Train, bus, planes, automobiles, you still consume your content. There's applications that you use now. So when this lady stops running, she now goes to work and sits down at her desk, and she has a morning tea break, and she resumes her podcast. It resumes exactly where it was there. Her 15-minute break is up at work. She continues her work, goes home for an afternoon jog, turns on the podcast, and resumes at exactly the same page, so to speak, the metaphorical page. TED Talk, you stop at TED Talk, go to an iPad, on a laptop, go to an iPad, then you need to think, oh, I was about 10 minutes in, and scroll through. So the devices, these apps synchronize to your devices, which means whatever you're doing, jogging, working, home on a smart TV, at your laptop, you consume your content. Podcasts are easy to do. You get a podcast mic. You can do your editing, free editing software called Audacity, and then you upload it to iTunes, Spotify, something like that. If you can't do the tech stuff, then outsource it. You can go to a place like Upwork, I'll do it on the white, sorry, upwork.com, and you can pay $20, $15 to have someone upload or edit your raw podcast and put it up in the clouds, and then you advertise it on Facebook, you advertise it on LinkedIn. Hey, just done a podcast on 5 steps to reduce cholesterol that everybody can do. 5 non-medical steps to help you reduce your cholesterol. As I said in my introduction, I'm not going to do a deep dive into the intricacies of podcasting, but you can learn to do it and you can outsource it. That's a great way of creating content that can be consumed. Create a YouTube video. You can get these small lapel Rode microphones. You clip them to your lapel, to your blouse, to your shirt. Use your iPhone, your Samsung phone. If your hand's a bit shaky, get a little tripod and you create 2 to 3 minute little videos that you upload to your YouTube channel. I'm going to quickly show you my YouTube channel. So a quick change in screens. Just going to my website, loading up YouTube and sharing. I just have to change my sharing. I do apologize. So this is my YouTube channel. I've got over 100 subscribers, but I've also got over 100 videos. Now, there's these short, sharp videos that I do with my iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, with my Samsung Galaxy. And then this webinar that you are watching now will become a 25 to 30 minute. I'm not bad on my timing, 30, 22, 30 minutes, 32, bit long, 27, 31. These are YouTube videos from my podcast that I can now share with my colleagues. And if someone sends me an email, Peter, I'm really struggling on how to begin my presentation. I'm really struggling. And I give him this link. I won't play it for you, but it's 6 steps on how to start strong. So, YouTube, really powerful. I'm now going to go back to my PowerPoint deck. We'll get there. So create a YouTube video, create a series of YouTube videos. What are the issues, the problems that your audiences are facing? What are their goals? What are their aspirations that you have the solution for? Just imagine a mechanic in the Pilbara that created some short tips for people driving in the Pilbara. Simple stuff like changing a tire. I have 2 adult daughters. I don't worry, I doubt their ability to change a tire should they have a flat tire. I doubt their ability to get out of a bog if they should get the car bogged in bull dust or dirt. I doubt their ability. And you could, even as a mechanic, you can provide content that may find you extra customers and support your existing customers. Speak on radio. Your radio announcers are always looking for content. If you write a very good press release with a very good issue or concern that's topical, that may be in the news and you have got the solution to, and you present that to them really well, as a journalist, most radio DJs are journalists, they're going to say, wow, here's a ready-made story. And you can speak on radio from your home over the telephone, or you can go into the studio. Once again, you're positioning yourself. You're seen as an expert. It's building your personal brand. You're not going to be paid money to speak on radio unless you are an extraordinary consultant and you get speaker fees. I imagine that Bill Gates or Julia Gillard probably do get paid to speak on radio on some occasions, but you're more there to comment and build your position and your brand. So speak on radio. It's scary. Run an online course. Udemy, Kajabi, Thinkific, all of these are free in the cloud software that will enable you to upload a course, and you can give a course away for free, or you can charge $47.90 for a 5-week course on how to build resilience in the workplace, how to be more assertive, how to deal with difficult customers, whatever your area of expertise. How do you build your content? Just a moment. Have we not spoken about YouTube videos? Have we not just spoken about webinars and podcasting? If you go on stage and run a seminar for 1 hour, why don't you carry a lapel microphone plugged into a digital recorder? Your iPhone would be fine, but I think your iPhone will only record for 30 minutes. But get a digital recorder that has a 2 or 3 hour recording capacity, and you've now got content, video, sound, and you just need to write some material, some questions, some answers, a bit of a resource book to underpin the video and the audio, and you put it together in defined chapters, and you have an online course. And here we go to something that's kind of what I'm talking about. Create it once, use it multiple times. So repurpose your spoken word. So the great podcasts that you've done, 5 or 6 episodes on the same topic, get them transcribed, send the audio off, get them transcribed, and put them into an ebook. And you may be able to sell the ebook. Or the ebook may be a gift that you give away, or a lead magnet. When someone comes to your website, free ebook on 5 steps to maintain resilience in a stressful work environment. You may not sell the ebook, you may sell the ebook. The ebook will build your brand, will build your positioning, and will increase your search engine optimization when Jilly, Kirsten, Stephen, Sarah, when they're looking for you and the solutions you have. Now I'm just going to toggle back just a little bit. Remember I said something about Zoom. I'm moving to Zoom. When you do a Zoom webinar, it saves 3 files. The first file is the video and the audio. I'm recording this webinar. Some people have been unable to attend. I will give them the full recording of this GoToWebinar recording. Zoom will do that for me. Zoom will also provide me an audio only file. So I've got a second file, which is audio. Oh, I've got an instant podcast. Yes, if I do 5 webinars on the same topic that I run live, the audio is now a separate file, and I've got a 5-chapter podcast. And the third thing that Zoom does is it provides you with a transcript file. It won't be perfect, but it won't be bad. So you can now send that off to Upwork for an editor, send them up both the audio and the transcript, and get them to improve the transcript, and you've got your ebook ready to offer as a gift to print out and bring along to a workshop with you. The one webinar on Zoom becomes 3 different products. How cool is that? Might be lazy. I think it's creative. Create once, use multiple times. So let's go back to the webinar. repurpose your spoken word. Ebook, podcasts, YouTubes, webinars. If you prefer writing and you write a really good ebook, then you can use the content as a ready-made podcast and you now speak from your ebook. If you speak it into Zoom, you've not only got an audio file, a podcast, but you've now got the video, the webinar that could be one of the chapters or one of the lessons within your online course. So one other thing, participate in business conferences and trade shows. You can just have your trade show where you talk to people, you showcase what you do. I showcase my public speaking skills. I have my business cards. I have a couple of my ebooks, some flyers that relate to my workshops. And then some of these trade shows, you can be a sponsor and you become not necessarily diamond or gold, but you become a silver sponsor and you get your 5 minutes or your 10 minutes on the main stage where you talk about a theme that, number one, is in line with the conference learning, but number two, enables you to position your expertise in the area of which you're speaking. So, speaking for profits. I'm just going to change slide decks again and we'll just wrap this one up. There's no reason why you, as an individual, as a small business, as an inspiring business person, cannot speak for profits. This is me in Manila, speaking to 250 people. I've had 2 inquiries for bookings from Manila as a result of me speaking at this conference. We've mentioned running a seminars. Radio, this is me in Manila in the Philippines speaking on their biggest business radio as a part of a panel. So I've mentioned run webinars, repurpose. So I just wanted to finish with upcoming workshops. I know we're running out of time. We are traveling everywhere. Melbourne, workshops in Perth, up to Broome later on in the year. And I think we're going up to Karratha. We have had some interest around Karratha and Port Hedland for some workshops to run in May. So make use of me outside of this workshop. The next webinar, the last go-to webinar is the good, the bad, and the ugly of non-verbal communication. We know about emotional intelligence. We know about IQ, which is your intellectual intelligence. But what about your non-verbal intelligence? Not so much reading if someone's lying or reading someone's mind, more about how do you come across when you're presenting at meetings, when you go to job interviews. Don't make these common mistakes that will undervalue your credibility, your confidence as a speaker, as a job applicant, as a chairman of a meeting. You know how to reach me, send me an email. I didn't do a deep dive. If you want to know about Upwork or outsourcing, then I can help you with that. I am not a tech guru. So while I use all of this stuff, I've got my YouTube channels and I use webinars and I can do podcasting. I don't know the nitty-gritty, and I think that's good news because you don't have to be an expert to do this. What are you going to do next week? How are you going to create content? How are you going to elevate your business, your position, your status through the spoken word?